You remember Black Hawk Down. You remember Mogadishu. You remember the fact that our troops were butchered and massacred in that horrible hellhole. And those warlords were running free. And George Bush sent a few people in, George Bush Sr., I might add, to quell the uprising, and he failed. But it's a land of pirates, Islamic terrorists, Somalia. It's now even more of a powder keg since two radical groups have joined forces. And it's the Christians who are in their line of fire. Gary Lane brings us this exclusive look at a safe house where converts from Islam are finding refuge.
Somalia's Islamist terror group Al-Shabaab recently joined with Al-Qaeda. It now wants Sharia law and to rid the Muslim country of all Christians. Specific targets are Christian converts from Islam. This Al-Shabaab video swept the internet in September 2008. It shows the brutal beheading of 25-year-old aid worker Mansour Mohammed. He converted to Christianity in 2005. 1 year ago, this Muslim convert to Christianity was awakened in his home by Al-Shabaab soldiers. We agreed to protect his identity and give him a different name, Abdi.
They ransacked my house, searched my bag, and found several pages from a Bible. They had crosses on them.
Abdi was taken away, imprisoned, and tortured.
Tell me what they then did to you and what they said to you.
I was blindfolded, and they put me in a dark, underground cell. They beat me up with a wooden baton. They wanted to know where I got the Bible pages and if I knew of any others like me. When they finally took the blindfold off, I noticed 3 dead bodies in the room. They placed them there just to frighten me.
His torturers said they were going to kill him. But late one night, Abdi and 2 cellmates made a daring escape.
The guards thought they had locked our cell door, but it wasn't locked. We opened it, ran to the wall, and started climbing. The guards opened fire on us. Bullets killed one of my cellmates, but the other prisoner and I jumped over the wall.
Reunited with his family, Abdi is now living in a safe place. He says he still suffers physical pain from the torture he endured. Spiritually, he feels closer to God.
I was happy to go through all this because now I'm stronger spiritually. People prayed for me to escape. Their prayers are what saved my life.
Somali Christian leaders estimate less than 200 Christians exist in this country of 10 million. Secret believers like this woman, she wants us to call her Fozia, often suffer punishment and humiliation for refusing to conform to Islamic law. Fozia says as a Christian, she could not bring herself to abide by Al-Shabaab's requirement that women wear a burqa. While Fozia dressed modestly, she did not want her face fully covered. Al-Shabaab Sharia police, similar to these on patrol in Banda Aceh, Indonesia, noticed Fozia walking in public without a burqa.
They said the clothing I was wearing was unacceptable. They said I was naked.
Fozia received a public flogging, punishment similar to that inflicted on this Pakistani woman by the Taliban. Fozia received 30 lashes. She inched her way home despite debilitating injuries.
A female neighbor came to my house to wash my wounds. I was bleeding, my flesh was peeling, and it was extremely painful.
Fozia says it's too risky to own a Bible, so she listens to nightly Christian radio broadcasts from neighboring Kenya. Fozia found refuge at the home of a Christian friend in another Somali city. But what happens to other Somali Christians when their lives are threatened for leaving Islam? Some are receiving help from an American mission group. This safe house not only gives former Muslims a place to eat and sleep, it also provides them with spiritual fellowship and discipleship. It's run by mature believers who host no more than 2 people at a time. Eventually, this safe house will help these temporary residents transition to life on their own. Basma was 7 months pregnant when her Muslim husband divorced her. With nowhere to go, she returned to her mother's house, where she delivered her baby. But when Basma's family discovered she had become a Christian, her stepfather kicked her out of the house.
He said I was infecting the entire household, and he threatened to kill me if I didn't leave.
Basma was forced to live on the street with her infant until a VOM worker met her and offered her refuge at the safe house.
I was praying that God would give me a house where I could sleep. This is a very good house, a house of worship, a house of God. He answered my prayers.
Fozia and other Somali Christians are praying for a better life, one free from the oppression of Al-Shabaab and other Islamists.
Pray that we Somali believers will live our lives closer to the kingdom of God. Pray that we will endure the weight of life in this Islamic nation. Gary
Lane, CBN News, Somalia.
That's Africa. You don't normally think that kind of persecution goes on in Africa, but Somalia is a case in itself. There was a lady named Hirsi Ali who ran for the parliament, the Dutch parliament, after she got out of that, but she wrote a book called Infidel. It's very powerful, explaining her treatment as a woman in Islam. She apparently, what I'm told is, she did not become a Christian, and I'm not sure she has any faith, but she showed the folly of Islam. But ladies and gentlemen, why in America doesn't the so-called mainstream media expose these things? Why don't they talk about it? They don't want to. There's a conspiracy of silence to keep the American people from realizing how terrible Islam is. And this is an extreme example of what happens in Islam. The persecution of women, particularly throughout that area, the Taliban and others, and what's happened in Saudi Arabia where a woman can't even drive an automobile. Why don't we talk about that? Well, we're talking. You'll know. Terry.